Welcome back to Waiting for the O's. I'm Alicia. I love the Olympics and I want to lose 50 pounds before I attend the 2028 Games.
And I'm Savannah, and I love hearing Alicia talk about the Olympics, and I want to join her on her weight loss and fitness journey.
And I appreciate that for a couple of reasons. Number one, support is always great. Women supporting women. And then also because I just like to talk a lot. So it's nice that someone's here to listen.
Yeah, I enjoy listening.
So let's first kind of dive into the women supporting women and talk about an Olympian. So each week, I want us to talk about a specific Olympian and kind of what we can learn from them, what kind of motivation we can draw from them. And I think it will come as no surprise to anyone who has ever met me that I chose this particular Olympian to be the first one because she is my all time favorite. I know you already know who I'm going to say. It is Mary Lou Retton.
Mary Lou.
Only you, Mary Lou. So, Mary Lou Retton. Well, first off, what do you know about Mary Lou Retton?
I know that Mary Lou Retton was an Olympian.
That is enough for me. Um,
Cool.
so yes, she was an Olympian and she was actually at the 1984 Olympics, which if you remember, that's sort of where my
Totally.
love for the Olympics
Yes.
began. And it's kind of cool because the 1984 Olympics were also in Los Angeles, which is where they will be for 2028, except for, where I'm going to go to Oklahoma City, where there are a couple of events there. Um, so Mary Lou Retton is the first American to win the individual all around gymnastics gold, male or female. But she's the first American to win the individual all around, which is a pretty big deal. Like that's basically like the queen of gymnastics, whoever
Yeah.
wins the individual all around. Um, it was a thrilling competition. So basically, the way that the all around works, there are four different events. There's the beam, there's the uneven bars, the floor, and the um, the vault. And
Okay.
so the way that it works is, obviously you can only do one at a time, and so then some, the other competitors will be on the other event, while you're doing this. And so it's kind of all moving and all happening at the same time. Well, as it's all going through, it comes down to Mary Lou Retton and Ekaterina Jabo from Romania. And basically, it comes down to the final event for Mary Lou, which was the vault. And at that point, the only mathematical way for her to win gold would be to get the perfect 10. That's the only way. Which, if you're familiar with gymnastic scoring, it has changed in recent years. So the sport has evolved and scoring has evolved along with this. But back then, it was a 10-point scale, plain and simple. And she had to get a perfect 10. Now, I want you to picture yourself at 16 years old.
Okay.
Okay. Now, picture 16-year-old Savannah in the middle of a giant arena filled with screaming fans, also knowing that you're being televised all throughout the world, and that the only way for you to win gold is to be absolutely perfect.
That's wild. Like,
Yeah,
I was so shy. I mean, I had a little bit of outgoingness then, but not really. I can't imagine the pressure.
exactly.
The only pressure I had at 16 were the mouthful of braces. Like, I cannot even fathom.
I know. Like I was super competitive as a kid, and like especially when I was in, well, actually all my life. But when I was in high school, for sure, like I was like really, really, really competitive. But I don't like, while I think I would have like locked in and gotten in the zone, and I had a lot of different, like mental exercises that I did to help me get
Yeah.
in that zone. In that pressure cooker, there's no way. There's no
No.
way.
No. On a world stage?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mary Lou Retton did it. She nailed that vault. She got the perfect 10. Also back then, you actually only had they would only would choose like your top score for the vault. So
Mm.
she didn't even actually have to do it the second time really. But because she's such a competitor, and also, probably already in her mind she's thinking, I don't want anybody to be able to say, "Oh, that was a fluke." She freaking did it
Yeah.
again. Nailed the perfect 10 once again. She got the gold. It was amazing. Almost everyone who knows Mary Lou Retton knows that story. Okay. There's a lot more to her story. And that's what I want to focus on, because as amazing as that is,
Yeah.
there's even more. And I think it's kind of a shame that people don't talk about the rest of the story. I think do you remember Paul Harvey? He was on the radio back in the day, and anyway, he would always
Oh, that
say
sounds
the
familiar.
rest of the story. So I feel
Maybe.
like Paul
Maybe.
Harvey right now.
Yeah.
Um, that's that's a showing my age moment, I think. Uh,
Yeah, I know. Maybe. I don't know.
anyway, the rest
Uh,
of the story. So,
yeah.
um, before, well, let's actually go all the way back to the beginning
Okay.
when Mary Lou Retton started in gymnastics. Basically, her mom was like a lot of other moms, had kids at home, needed to keep them busy, also probably wanted to burn off their energy so that they're not like bouncing off the walls at home. So she signs Mary Lou up for gymnastics. And turns out she really enjoyed it, and she was pretty darn good at it. So as she started liking it more and more and really wanted to start being competitive, her coach was like, "Yeah, you're pretty good, but don't get your hopes up. Like, you're not going to go anywhere with gymnastics."
That's so encouraging.
Right? Like, and I'm talking like young girl, okay? I
Yeah.
can't if someone would have told me that at that age, and I'm talking like single digit age,
Oh, yeah.
I think I probably would have been like, "Oh dang, okay, I guess that
Right.
I guess this is over." Like
Well, you trust adults and you're impressionable and
yeah.
delicate.
So fortunately for all of us, that was not the way that Mary Lou Retton responded. She was just kind of
Yeah.
like, "Nope, I like it, and I'm going to stick with it. Like this is fun, and I'm good at it." And the interesting thing, and I think that this kind of goes fits well into a lot of what we're talking about with our journey and how we view ourselves, and our bodies and everything. Basically, the whole reason that the coach said that is he was like, "You don't have the right body for
Mm.
gymnastics," which is just crazy to me. First off, if someone is talented, they're talented. And maybe again their body doesn't look like the next competitors, but if they're talented and they're getting the job done, who gives a crap, right?
Yeah.
And yet here's this man being like, "Nah, you're not going to go anywhere with gymnastics because you don't have the right body type." So I know that you don't know much about Mary Lou Retton. Do you
I
know what she looks like?
I feel like I do. I have like a mental picture of who I think she is. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I do know what she looks like.
Okay. What do you if you can picture it, how would you describe her body type?
I would say I feel like we're getting into dangerous territory here. I'm not trying to comment on other people's bodies, but I feel like
no judgment, just a
you know,
description.
kind of like here's a little head, and then like
Yeah, she has a head.
like an Oscar kind of maybe, like the like I don't I imagine an Oscar,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
but
Broad
maybe
shoulders.
shorter, yeah, like a short
Okay.
Oscar, like an Oscar if it was like a 5-foot woman instead of like a 6-foot man.
Okay. Okay. So I think you're saying short with broad shoulders and
Yes,
and pretty tone. I feel like the Oscar statuette is
yeah, like
pretty tone, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, she is short and muscular.
Okay.
Some
Does
might
she
describe
kind
her
of look
as.
like an Oscar? Like, am I close?
I gotta say, I've never thought that
Okay.
before.
All right.
Um, I'm not gonna say no.
Okay.
I can already tell later. I'm gonna be googling images of Mary Lou Retton and Oscar, putting them side by side to do a comparison. Maybe superimposing her head on the body of an
I think
Oscar
it
and
could
seeing
work.
like, yeah, like can I tell the difference? That's
Put a
definitely
little
my
gymnastics outfit on the Oscar.
yes.
All right.
That's my that's gonna be my homework
Okay.
for tonight is to look at that.
Same.
Anyway, so yeah, some might say short and stocky. Now, how familiar are you with like a Simone Biles?
I do. Yeah, very familiar.
Okay, how would you describe her body?
I don't know if I would necessarily same way, but you kind of like a short Oscar. You know, like
So
like
once again,
broad and toned and strength, and I mean toned and strength everywhere, but you can like see it. But also like short, like real a lot of strength in a tiny package.
yeah,
Yeah,
compact and strong.
yeah. Compact is a good word. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we are talking, and again, there's no judgment on anything that we're
I
saying.
mean,
Just using
she's
some descriptors.
beautiful. Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So short and muscular,
Yeah.
compact powerhouse, like we were talking about. So similar to Mary Lou Retton. Now, I will say
Okay.
there are definite differences. I mean, because I also just think that in over time, we have learned more about how to train properly and you
Yeah.
know like the science
Yeah.
around fitness and everything. But yeah, so very similar, and so it's one of those interesting things that when I talk about this, because I talk about it often,
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, why would this guy ever tell Mary Lou Retton she doesn't have the right body for a gymnast because
When she
she's
kind of has the ideal body.
right?
Yeah.
So the reason for that is because before Mary Lou Retton, gymnasts did not look like that.
That's crazy.
So she completely ended up revolutionizing the entire sport of gymnastics.
Which is
Gymnasts
super
before,
cool.
I know, right? Gymnasts
Yeah.
before were more long and lean, and it was all about the clean lines and the beauty and the grace.
We're like
And
almost
then
like ballet almost.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Mary Lou Retton came in as this complete powerhouse
Yeah.
who was able to just like get so much power and strength into her flips and into her tricks and into everything that she completely revolutionized the sport. So
Yeah.
she's kind of like the OG power gymnast because that's what they're referred to as
Yeah.
now as a power gymnast. And don't get me wrong, there are still the long and lean gymnasts
Yeah.
as well. Because there's a place for everyone. Just like I was saying, like this guy, this coach, such an idiot because who cares what your body type
If
is
it
if you're
works.
getting the job done?
Yeah.
And maybe the job looks a little bit different, but if it looks awesome like Mary Lou Retton, then come on, keep your mouth shut, buddy.
I don't quite
Um,
remember the 1984 Olympics, but I am going to go back and Google it. and I want to go watch her performance now because yeah, I don't think I've actually ever seen a clip of it, or maybe I have and I don't recall.
Well, you should definitely look it up because it is so emotional. I mean, to see her, especially when you get to the vault, like, I mean, the other performances are all fantastic. And
But the vault
in
is where it's
her
at.
beam, yeah. Well, I mean, well, her the vault was the
The
ending, right?
thing, yeah,
And that's what it all came down to. And so, not only is it a master class in how to do a vault to
yeah,
perfection, it also is that pressure cooker that we talked about, and then the
yeah.
emotions afterward. I'm not gonna ruin it for you, but let's just say that a coach who was not the Olympic coach, and there's all these rules, right, on who can be where and everything. Let's just say a rule might have been broken, and a coach, overcome with joy, may have hopped over a barrier. And I'm not going to tell you the rest
All right.
because you're going to watch it. But it was very emotional, and I wholeheartedly think anyone who has not seen that clip should watch that clip. Um, so yeah, but not only do we now know that she's the OG power gymnast and completely revolutionized the sport, she also revolutionized gymnastics in America. So she had this megawatt smile, right? And I mean, she kind of looked like the girl next door, if the girl next door was super jacked and amazing, right? Um,
Yeah.
and but when she won and she was just the huge smile. I mean, she gets the Wheaties box cover. She's on the cover of Sports Illustrated. That's where the Only You, Mary Lou comes into play. I'll say that probably a lot. That was the headline on the Sports Illustrated cover. But America just fell in love with her, so she became America's sweetheart. And what a lot of people don't realize is that gymnastics wasn't necessarily super accessible. You had to find a gymnastics club. I mean, and not only somewhere to tumble, but a place that actually had real coaches, a place that was affiliated and actually went to the competitions. I mean, it wasn't just around the corner. And in fact, Mary Lou Retton grew up in West Virginia, and the coach who made the mistake of trying to, I mean, I don't think he was trying to body shame her, but essentially was body
Yeah.
shaming her.
Yeah. Things were called
Uh
different terms back then, but yeah, that's what it was.
yeah. She ended up having to leave West Virginia, move to Houston, leave her whole family. She had to like stay with a host family to train in Houston with Bela Crowley, who of course was one of the top gymnastics coach of all times. Um, but the whole reason, and that actually still happens a lot today, even though it is more accessible. But there was just nothing out there for you to really find. Once Mary Lou Retton won, and like the whole country just embraced her, loved her, all of these gymnastics clubs started popping up all over the nation. And all of the sudden, little girls from anywhere had a place to go. And then, of course, that meant that the USA had a much larger pool of athletes to pull from.
Go on, yeah.
And so basically, we are now a huge powerhouse gymnastics country. And quite frankly, a lot of that comes down to Mary Lou Retton.
Only
And
you, Mary Lou.
exactly. And I don't think that she gets enough credit for that because, well, I mean, it has been a few years since 84. And, so a lot of people today don't even know the story.
Yeah.
They don't even understand because a lot of people just grew up, and don't get me wrong, we were already really good. The team
Yeah.
took took silver in the team event. So it's not like we were bad. We were very good. A lot of that comes down to Bela Caroli. Once he moved to the States, um, then we really started to put something together in terms of gymnastics. But it was really Mary Lou and her huge smile and the country just falling in love with her that tipped everything over into this, like, oh, girls should be in gymnastics, and let's
Yeah.
open up a club. And so again, I don't think that anyone could ever give enough credit to Mary Lou Retton. I might be biased because she is my all-time favorite Olympian, but she's my favorite for this reason.
Because she's awesome.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
haven't even told the whole story yet.
Okay.
There is more.
I can't wait to
Okay.
hear it. Tell me more.
Okay. So she's already overcome a coach telling her, you got to pick a different sport because you don't have the right body. And she's like, too bad. I'm continuing. Goes to Houston, qualifies for the Olympics. It is 6 weeks until the Olympics. And all of a sudden, like, she sat down at the end of a practice, goes to get back up. She can't. She can't even straighten her leg.
Oh.
So, of course, they take her to the hospital, and they determine that she needs surgery, and she needs it like right then, pretty much. The surgeon that they went to, um, I mean, would have probably been fine, but again, she's an elite athlete. So fortunately, her coach was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna find the best knee surgeon in the world and get him, to do this surgery." And so they did. They got a top surgeon who was cutting edge, and he came and basically was like, "Yeah, you need the surgery. We're gonna do the surgery like tomorrow. And by the way, you're not going to the Olympics."
What was wrong with her knee? Do you know?
A piece of cartilage had broken off and gotten lodged in the joint.
I have had that, and it is not fun. You can't straighten your leg, you can't bend your leg, you can't put pressure on your leg. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, she couldn't do anything. And so
Yeah.
she had to have surgery. The surgeon that they got was cutting edge because he was doing, and I know I can never pronounce this word, but he was doing laparoscopic
Yeah.
surgery.
I think you
Nobody
said it
was
right.
doing that then. Nobody was doing that then. Everyone was
Yeah,
still
that's
just
crazy.
chopping in. Yeah. So if they hadn't gotten him, then she probably wouldn't have gone to the Olympics. But so he's all cutting edge, but even he's like, look, it's 6 weeks. By the time you have the surgery, it's 5 weeks. But then we're talking 5 weeks until the actual competition. You're supposed to like practice the week before. So then that cuts it down. So basically, she had, after it's all said and done, she had 3 weeks to rehab her knee after
That's
surgery.
crazy.
It was supposed to be like the normal rehab plan would have taken months.
Oh yeah.
Um, and she was like, "No, I'm gonna do it." And so they did the surgery. She fought through. It was a whole big hush hush. Nobody knew about it. They wanted to keep it under wraps because they didn't want the judges to think, oh, she has a hurt
Oh yeah.
knee, and then looking
Any
at
sort
things
of
differently.
sympathy
And
vote or looking at her differently
yeah,
or
uh,
yeah.
yeah, and so it was all hush hush. It only came out after the Olympics that all of this happened. But so she crammed a few months worth of rehab into 3 weeks. And gymnastics is very hard on the body. Very
Especially
hard.
when you're doing crazy things in the air and then that impact on the landing.
Exactly.
I cannot even imagine. I could barely
Yeah.
walk on mine when I was healing.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. I mean, it's astounding to think about. And again, comes down to that vault. So now not
Yeah.
only does she have the whole pressure of the world,
Oh my
but
god.
also somewhere in her mind, she's probably thinking, I have to stick the landing on a knee that I just had surgery on.
And that who knows what's going to happen.
Right. But she did it. Um,
Wow.
and again, a lot of people don't know that because, like I said, it was all hush hush. It came out after the games, but then, yeah, there were some articles about it and, things like that. But the focus at that point was just on, how Mary Lou was America's sweetheart. And when you're already the sweetheart, you don't need more to add to the story. And so
Yeah.
it just didn't really come up. And so that has all kind of been, sort of like lost over time.
Yeah.
And again, this is where I'm like, no one can ever hype Mary Lou Retton up enough
No.
because she revolutionized the entire sport of gymnastics on a knee that had just been operated on.
That's pretty wild.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, especially because those 3 weeks that she had to like rehab it, you're not nearly as active. So it's like not only did she pause in her training, she regressed. So to have come that far, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why Mary Lou Retton is my favorite
Get it,
Olympian.
Mary Lou.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I can see why she's your favorite. She definitely
She should
deserves the title of favorite.
she should be everyone's favorite. Again,
Yeah.
I might be biased. And we're going to talk about a lot of Olympians,
Yeah.
and they all deserve to be someone's favorite, but Mary Lou will probably always be mine. A big part of that, again, is because I was a 5-year-old girl watching the
Yeah.
1984 Olympics on my living room TV with the whole family, getting super pumped about it. But also because she's Mary Lou Retton and she did
Oh,
the
yeah.
things that she did, and she is just absolutely amazing. I don't think that I will ever stop talking about Mary Lou Retton. And sometimes I can admit that maybe I'm a little annoying because someone will say like something about gymnastics that has nothing to do with Mary Lou Retton at all, and I'll be like, "Oh, let's segue into Mary Lou Retton talk."
I mean,
And
technically, gymnastics does have something to do with Mary Lou Retton.
exactly,
So,
thank you.
yeah.
So yeah, I can pretty much turn any conversation into a Mary Lou Retton, speech, lecture, hype, moment. And in fact, I had a job before where I was
Uh-huh.
doing what we called service culture training, and I also was doing some leadership development training. And because I love Mary Lou Retton so much, and because there are so many things that you can learn from her and take away from her, what she did, I built her into my training.
You're not kidding.
I am not kidding. And here's the thing, people loved it because she's awesome. Also, probably because I get super passionate when I talk about her. And so I built her into my training, talked about it all the time. And then one day I was sitting at my desk, and this has been years upon years upon years ago at this point. And so I was working in an office at that point, and the site director came up, and he's standing at my cubicle, and he was like, "Oh, hey, did you hear that Mary Lou Retton is coming to town?" And I was like, "What? No, I have
Ah.
not heard that." And it turns out there was, I honestly I have no idea what the company was, but basically their whole shtick is to put on these events where they get amazing speakers, and then they put like sales pitches in between the speakers. I have no idea what they were selling. I don't remember any of that because that's not why I was there. They did get me there, but I didn't. I was too focused on why I was there. But anyway, so what happened is one of the people who went through my training, who I literally had never interacted with before or after that training, heard a radio ad for this event, heard that Mary Lou Retton was going to be there. And part of the deal also was that if you had an office, you could get like a whole group block of tickets. And I mean, it was like crazy cheap because, again, they just wanted to fill the seats and then try to sell
Yeah, they
you
just
stuff,
want people
right?
in for their sales pitch. Yeah.
So she heard that, went to our site director and was like, hey, there's this thing. Mary Lou Retton's going to be there. We all know how Alicia feels about Mary Lou Retton, and you can get cheap tickets for like the whole office. And so he comes and he tells me, he was like, oh yeah, apparently we could get tickets. And I was like, again, like, what? And I was like, can we? And he was like, HR is already ordering them. And I was like, are you
That's
kidding
so
me?
cool. That's super
Yeah.
cool.
So that my love of Mary Lou Retton goes far enough to get an entire office leadership
Ah,
team tickets to an event to hear her speak.
I would like to just add to that, though. Mary Lou Retton was so impactful to you that you shared it in your training, in which you were so impactful to this employee that they were like, Alicia loves Mary Lou Retton. So you and Mary Lou together got this office to go see her speak.
Well,
Yeah.
I like the way you tell that story. but
Uh,
but yeah, so I was super stoked, and yeah, we're going to go. I mean,
yeah.
so now I got to tell you about the event.
Well,
Okay?
yeah, please do.
So I went to the site to, see like because again, I still have no recollection as to what this company is. But I went to the site, and that's where I saw that, the group block tickets were, not exactly the best seats in the house,
Yeah.
which isn't surprising because I can't remember how inexpensive it was, but I want to say it was something like $20 and you could bring
Yeah.
your whole office. Like, I
Oh,
mean, it was,
wow.
yeah, 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 yeah. It was crazy. Again, they're trying to sell you stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, but then I saw that you could upgrade to platinum.
Oh, platinum.
Yeah. So I called the company and I was like, hey, my office just bought a group block of tickets. I see that you can upgrade to platinum. And they were like, oh, yeah, da 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 da. And I was like, but can I upgrade just one ticket? Because as much as I wanted everyone to be there and to hear Mary Lou Retton speak and to give her own account of that gold medal winning vault, it was more important to me to be the closest I could be. So I
You
don't
know,
know.
I get it. I get it.
Right. I mean, it might make
Yeah.
me kind of a not great person, but
Everyone
look,
got to go.
Exactly. And it was during work, so not only did they get to go hear a lot of great speakers, including Mary Lou Retton, but they also got to miss work. I
Yeah.
mean, can you even
Win win.
imagine a better day than that?
No.
No, exactly. So they let me upgrade the one ticket
Nice.
to platinum. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, I am going to this event. Mary Lou Retton's going to be there. I've got the good ticket. My new goal is to get her autograph. Okay. Now, my brother has always been the type of person who, if he gets something and he thinks that it will increase in value, he will set it aside and like keep it in pristine condition. I am not like that. If I get something, I want to use it. I want like, and it turns to shreds. because I love it and I use it so much. But fortunately, my brother is not that way. 1984, that was also the first year my family got a subscription to Sports Illustrated. And in 1984, when that Sports Illustrated with Mary Lou Retton, Only You, Mary Lou, arrived at our house, my brother, who would have been 8 years old, thought this might increase in value and I should put it in a safe place.
What a smart man.
I know, or boy, because again,
Well,
he
boy.
would have been 8. Can you, like, 8 years old and thinking, this is something special? Again, if it had gotten to my, in fact, he will never let me live this down. We used to have like a minor league, I don't even think it was minor league, whatever's below minor league baseball team in this
Basic
area.
league.
Yeah, uh, good old basic baseball league. Um, but a lot of athletes, it's like they work their way up through the different levels of, and so there were people who made it to the major leagues who played in, it was the Beaumont Golden Gators. And when you have teams like that, the athletes try to be very accessible. And so my
Yeah.
brother had gotten like the entire team to autograph this baseball, and of course, he had set it aside, and multiple people who signed that ball ended up in the majors. Well, one day I needed a baseball because my friend and I wanted to play catch. And then it's like, what to play with? And it's like, well, here's a baseball. And I ruined it, and he'll never let me live it down. And then that was a bad thing. I was a child and I didn't understand. To me, it was a ball. You play with the ball. Like, that's all there was
Yeah.
to it. I didn't realize that I was doing something wrong at the time.
You
He
didn't realize
definitely
it was
made
his prized
ex-
possession.
exactly. He definitely made me understand that it was the wrong thing when he got home, and this, baseball that had been pristine was all like dirty and gross. Which again, so that's not me. I take things and I use
You've
them up and I
used the
love them.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. But my brother sets it aside in a safe place. And so this was probably 15 years ago, at this point.
Okay.
Um,
So good,
yeah,
maybe 20 years ish after
yeah,
the Olympics. Okay.
yeah. And that Sports Illustrated was still in the safe place. And
Man.
so I call my brother and I'm like, Jason, I need the Mary Lou Sports Illustrated because I'm going to this event and my goal is to get her to sign it. And he was like, it is in this drawer in my old bedroom in mom's house. So then I call our mom and I'm like, Mom, I need the Mary Lou Retton Sports Illustrated. Jason said it's in this drawer in his old room. So she goes and she gets the Sports Illustrated, and then she puts it in a Ziploc bag to preserve it, and then was so nice to meet me halfway, because at the time I was living in the Austin area. It's about 4.5 hours between here and there. I've since moved back to my hometown area, but at the time that's where I was. And so she drove and we met halfway to do the handoff of the Sports Illustrated. And so I then had the Sports Illustrated from 1984, almost mint condition.
Wow. Shout out to Jason and your mom.
I know. I am very fortunate to
Yeah.
have the family and friends that I have. And just,
Yeah.
I think I've been very lucky with the people that I have surrounded myself with. And I'm very, very lucky because, again, last week we were talking about how Andrea is like one
Yeah.
of the greatest humans ever. Well, now we know that turns out my mom and brother are pretty darn great too.
Pretty cool.
Um,
And he gave it to you even after the baseball incident.
I, exactly.
Not bad.
And here's the thing, he didn't just give it to me. He was excited about it. Like
Oh, nice.
he was like, "What? You might be out." And I was like, "I don't know. I'm going to try." And he was like, "Yeah." And so like everyone was excited about it.
Excited. So you
So
have this Sports
I
Illustrated
have the
now.
Sports Illustrated. I went and bought a plastic clipboard that like opened and had
Uh
like a
huh.
compartment on the inside, so that way I could put it and I could have it safe while I went to the event. So I got that. I got a Sharpie. I had it closed in the clipboard. I go to the event and I walk in, and of course, the idea is that I'm going to go and I'm going to be like front row Joe, right? And that's how I'm going to have the best access. Well, I walk in and it's a square stage in the middle of the arena. So there are
Oh.
4 front rows.
Oh,
And now I'm like, which one do I choose?
oh no.
So I go into like sleuth mode and I'm like looking at the arena and I'm like, are there any clues? I mean, I like basically when I think back on it, I'm picturing myself in like a Sherlock Holmes hat and a, like magnifying glass out searching for these clues. But I end up seeing that only one aisle has like the rope barrier type thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's the aisle that they're gonna walk from, wherever like we'll call it backstage,
Yeah.
where they're gonna walk from backstage to the stage. And so I'm like, that's where I want to be. So
Nice.
I make a beeline over to that section, and then I'm like, yep, I'm in the right place because the front row, which is where I was hoping to be, was actually all reserved for friends and family of the speakers. And so I was like, boom, this is the right place. So I got second row on the aisle with
Oh,
the rope.
yeah.
Okay. And so I'm sitting there and the event starts. And here's the thing, they don't give you the order of the speakers because they want to keep you there because they're having these sales pitches in between the speakers. So I have no idea when Mary Lou is going on. And the entire morning goes by, no Mary Lou. And then we take a lunch break, but I'm like, I can't leave this seat. And
Oh, because it's
fortunately,
like
if
it
you,
fills in.
yeah, like
Like,
it wasn't like there was no way
it's
to
not like you
save your
had a
seat.
ticket number. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, I'm staying here. And fortunately, if you stayed for the lunch break, because which that was like an extra long sales pitch, you also got a box lunch. So
Well, hey,
I'm like,
you can't beat
I'm
that.
like, okay, yeah, I'll eat whatever this sandwich is since I can't leave this seat. And but then I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom.
I
Like I
was
have
just gonna
been in
say, like,
this seat
what if you have to
for
go to the
hours.
bathroom?
So fortunately, I talked to the guy next to me who I have no idea who he is. He has no idea who I am. And I'm like, I have to run to the restroom. Will you save this seat for me? And he was like, yes. So I was like, whew. Because I'm like, otherwise, I would have just had to stay and been miserable and quite frankly, just hoped for the best and really hoped that things did not go off the rails
Uh,
when meeting Mary Lou Retton.
that could have been
Um,
real interesting.
I know it could have been real bad is what it could have been. So fortunately the guy was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that I was able to run to the restroom, get back, and I'm in my seat and I'm still just like, I don't know when this is gonna happen. Fortunately, not long after the lunch break, they dimmed the lights. And then on the giant screens, they start playing the clip that you're going to watch later and that
Oh,
everyone should watch.
I
And
bet
I
you felt it in
mean,
your stomach.
oh, I felt it everywhere.
Uh,
I mean, immediately I was just like, this is it. This is it. And I mean, I don't think that I had ever been more excited about anything in my life. And at one point, I was even like, you got to calm down because she hasn't even come out yet. Like, like you got to take a beat here. And as much as I wanted to watch the clip, I couldn't. I mean, I could, but also I have seen that clip a million times. But what I wanted to see was Mary Lou Retton walking out, right? So everybody's watching the big screens, and then I'm like hanging out in the aisle, like, where is she? And then I see her walking, and when I tell you, I went from probably already a level 12 out of 10 excitement. I didn't think I could be more excited, and I was wrong. I mean, at that point, like, I think my whole body was shaking with excitement. And I was like, oh my God, it's Mary Lou Retton. And as much as I wanted the autograph, I wasn't gonna ask for it on her way to the
Yeah.
stage. Like, that's like not what you do to someone who's going to a speaking event. You don't want to throw them off their game. So, I mean, she walks by, and I mean, I had my face. I can't even imagine how stupid I looked, because I was just so in awe. Yep, that's the one. Of just like, "Ooh." So she goes to the stage. She starts telling the story about winning the gold, and of course, it's a great story. Everybody loves that story, and I can tell that the story's coming to an end. So at this point, I open my clipboard, I pull the magazine out, I put it on top of the clipboard, I get the Sharpie, I take the lid off so it is ready, right? I am prepared. So she leaves the stage, and when she was like right in front of me, because no one ended up sitting in the chair right in front of me, so she's right in front of me. I mean, of course, the crowd is going wild, right? Because again, it is a great story.
Mary Lou
Like,
Retton. Yeah.
yeah. And so I'm like, okay, here's my chance. And so I muster everything I have, and I just yell out, Mary Lou. But the crowd is so loud that she cannot hear it. She
Oh
cannot
no.
hear it, and she keeps walking. And so at this point, she's like about to make the turn onto the aisle, and I'm like, okay, I got to do it again. So once again, I mean, I just get everything I have got. Like, I'm about to go do the vault, and I'm like, Mary Lou, but she still doesn't hear me because the crowd is still going wild. And at this point, she's taken another step, and I realize I have one more chance. And if I don't get her attention right here, right now, I will have lost the opportunity completely. So I dig deep, deeper than I have ever dug in my entire life. And once again, I belt out, Mary Lou! And the crowd had quieted a little bit. I mean, they were still clapping, but let's just say Mary Lou did hear me. And in fact, did a little bit of like a jump scare because because I had screamed so loud directly into her face.
She
At
probably
that,
thought you were a Psycho fan.
well, fortunately, she didn't, because
Oh, good, good, good.
security did. So security is like, oh my gosh, we have a rabid fan. And so they start coming, and then I'm just like, and fortunately, she like waved them off because she realized that I'm harmless
Good
and
old
just
Mary
like,
Lou.
a super fan. And so she, looks at me, and I like hold up the clipboard with the Sports Illustrated and have the Sharpie, and I was like, "Can I please have your autograph?" And she just smiled that megawatt smile and said, "Well, you certainly can." and then she signed
Aw.
that cover. And, I mean, it was like time stood still. It was like there was nothing there except for me and Mary Lou. I can only imagine that that's also how she felt.
Oh yeah,
But
obviously, obviously.
yeah, I mean, for
Yeah.
me, for sure, it was like we were in this little bubble. And as she was signing it, I just said, thank you so much. You have no idea what this means to me. And once again, she flashed that huge smile and said, well, you are so very welcome. And then she just walked
Aw.
off. And I mean, I was just standing there, still sort of in disbelief that my plan came together, it worked, and that I was holding a Sports Illustrated from 1984, freshly signed by Mary Lou
Wow.
Retton. And
Once again, the stars aligned.
yes, everything aligned, came together, made that happen. That honestly, I'm trying to think if I've ever had a better moment in my entire life, and I don't think that I have. Like, that was it for me. I mean,
That's
and
pretty cool.
yeah, and like I said, I was sort of in this bubble, and so then I sort of like turned back to face the front, and then the sound starts coming back because the crowd was still clapping. Like, the applause was still
Yeah.
going on. It just wasn't quite as frenzied as it was, before. But then all of a sudden, that guy who was next to me, who saved my seat, like, starts, like, pounding me on the back and, like, shaking me. And he was like, "You got her autograph." He's like, "Oh my God, you're like the coolest person." And he was like, "Can I see it?" And it was like this amazing moment because, like, I really thought that I was the only one who cared,
That excited, yeah.
and then he was joining in, and it takes us back to what we've talked about before with the Olympics and how it brings people together and it
Oh yeah.
creates this community and this excitement. And it's so beautiful because, like I said, I had no idea who this guy was, and
Oh
he
yeah.
had no idea who I was. And yet, all of a sudden, we were celebrating as if we had
Yeah.
known each other for years. And it took what was and
A
still is,
tool.
like I'm saying, I think the best moment of my entire life,
Yeah.
and then somehow made it even better.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's important, I
Incredible.
think, is,
Yeah.
yeah, when we all can kind of come together and support each other like that. So that was an amazing moment for me. But that's my Mary Lou Retton story.
Well, and thank God for that guy, right? Because what would happen if you didn't get to use the bathroom and you just met
I
Mary Lou Retton? Could
I
have
would
had
have
a
peed my
different ending.
pants.
Yeah.
I would have
So
100%
he
peed
was
my
really
pants.
there for you in multiple ways.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
That man who I still have no idea who he is, where he came from, what his name is,
It's like a
best
heavenly
friend for
angel
life.
that came down to sit next to you, help you
Yes.
with Mary Lou.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty
she's my
cool.
favorite, and
Yeah.
I got that moment. I don't, I'm kind of curious if going to the Olympics in 2028 is going to top that moment. Um, I I think it might, but I don't know
Yeah.
for sure because she's my favorite,
It's probably
and
just going to be like a different moment because I'm sure having that interaction with her, not only were you already like, you loved her for so many different reasons, but then to have her be such a like kind human on top of that and sweet and do the
yes,
signature and be like, okay, security, we're good. Like,
yeah, that's probably the
you
best
know, I'm
part.
sure
It's
that gave her even more points in your book. So that's pretty
exactly.
cool.
Ah,
So your
yeah.
your
So
Olympic adventure, I can only imagine, will be similar, but like just a different experience.
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
once again, I know that I'm going to be probably at that like 15 out of 10 excitement. I did cry a little bit with Mary Lou, but not much. I think when I go to the Olympics, I will cry a lot.
yeah,
I mean, not. I
because
don't
it's the
mean like I'm gonna.
whole environment. It's
Yeah,
all the things. Yeah,
yeah, and I don't mean like breakdown sobbing, even though I've joked about that,
yeah,
but I do mean the tears are gonna fall multiple times,
Oh
and,
yeah.
like, I'm just not gonna be able to stop them, but so, yeah, I agree with you, it's gonna be just another amazing
Yeah.
experience. So, now let's talk about kind of we talked about how Mary Lou went on a journey and how she had surgery, did a crazy amount of rehab to get not only into good shape, but to Olympic shape, and not even just Olympic shape, but Olympic
The
gold medal
champion.
winning shape.
Yeah.
And that is something that I would love to be able to emulate, but I can tell you I have had surgeries, and I think you have as well.
Yeah.
And my journey, in fact, you mentioned knee surgery, and uh, my journey has not been like that. And in fact, most like I've actually had I'm double digits into my surgeries at this point.
Wow.
Most of them have been minor, which fortunately for that. But like one of the ones that I had a muscle tissue tumor removed. Fortunately, it was benign. Like, so it was all fine. And it was a very minor procedure. But even that, like, I describe as feeling like someone kicked me with a steel toed boot. And it was a while before, like, at first the pain was like constant. Then of
Yeah.
course it went away, but then it was like if I was walking a lot, the pain was there. And it took a while for that to go away. So now I didn't necessarily have any sort of like impending event that I
Event.
needed to like push through the pain, but I can't even imagine being able to do that. And then where I am now, I mean, obviously I'm like really trying to lose the weight, and I'm trying to do things to help get back in shape, but I'm also starting at uh well, the way I got to where I am, a big part of that is that I had back problems. So I played rugby in college, and I went in for a scrum, and I still remember it. I didn't know the extent of the damage at the time, but I went in and I wasn't in the right uh, position. It was my fault completely. I didn't have my back straight the way that it's supposed to. And we went into the scrum, and I just remember there being this like little like uh crinkle feeling, a little crinkly hurt feeling. But I was young in college, and it was just like that. And then the pain was gone. And so I didn't really think about it again until a few years later. So, graduate from college, and then I get a stupid desk job, and like just am not moving very much at all. And as I'm sitting at this desk, my spine is getting compressed and compressed and compressed. And it turns out that in that scrum, I tore two discs.
Ooh.
And so I went to a sports neurologist, and he figured out that, I had two torn discs, and he wanted to do what was called the big needle procedure. And that what
That
they
does
do,
not sound fun.
no, it's not exactly a pleasant sounding thing, and it is a giant needle. I did this procedure multiple times. The whole purpose, so basically what was happening, like I mentioned, kind of like a sedentary lifestyle. My spine was compressing, and because those discs were torn, so those discs have a fluid in them, right? Well, since my spine was compressing and they were torn, all of that fluid was leaking out, and they were just getting squished and squished and squished, um, until there was no more fluid, which also apparently the what the doctor said is basically like my body was, putting battery acid into the rest of my body. And I'm like, well, that's fantastic.
That's fun. Yeah.
Um, but so at this point, the discs were bulging and actually touching a nerve. And so that's why
Oh,
I was in a lot of pain at this point. And so he wanted to do this big needle procedure where they go in with a very long needle and pump a bunch of um, uh, medicine into that's like anti-inflammatory,
oh, okay.
mixed with some steroids and stuff. So it wasn't like pain stuff because a lot of people think that you're going in to get like a pain injection, but no, that's not what it
Yeah.
is. The idea was, let's try to shrink these discs,
Oh,
so that they're no longer touching the nerve. Um, well, it didn't work. And so then he's like, "All right, well, we're going to do it again." And it didn't work. And so then we're going to do it again. And he had told me, he was like, you can do it up to 3 times in a year." So I did the third one and it didn't work. And so he was like, "Well, we're going to do it again." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean? Like, you said that we could only do it 3 times." And he was like, "Well, I mean, you can do it. You can do it another time." And so I was like, "Okay."
okay.
Um Anyway, through most of those, I did not look at the needle, but finally on one of them, and I don't know if it was my third or fourth time, but I finally was really curious, and I was like, "Can I see this big needle?"
Don't look at it.
I shouldn't have. It is a big needle. I mean, it's very, very thin. So I was happy because, in my mind, you hear big needle, and you kind of
Like,
also think like a thick,
yeah.
yeah. But it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
very,
I do.
very,
I'm imagining a thick. Yeah.
yeah. It was very thin, but it was long. I mean, like it was very long. Um, so anyway, the fourth one, finally, I got some relief,
Oh,
and
okay.
so it was like this whole thing of like, oh great, now we've had success, and but when I say I got relief, what I mean is I was no longer in constant pain. I mean, because I was in constant pain, and back then, this is part of what led to the opioid crisis. um, I was on Vicodin and I was on Vicodin 24/7. Like, and actually Vicodin does not help with something like that, but so really, and I don't know, hopefully well, I don't know if I want to hope that the doctor knew that or not. But essentially what it seems like is the hope is sort of that you are a little high, and that takes the edge off, because
Oh,
it can't actually help with nerve pain.
interesting.
And so basically, yeah, I was sort of going through life in horrible pain, a little high, like all the time. And so I got a little bit of relief. And I mean, it was bad to the point where some days I couldn't go to work because I couldn't get
Yeah.
out of bed. Um and
So
so
it
I
wasn't
got enough.
good, but it wasn't bad.
Well, yeah, after the that
The
fourth
fourth one.
one, I wasn't in constant pain, and I no
Yeah.
longer had to take Vicodin every hour of every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But if I stood for more than, say, 3 minutes, pain. If I walked, like even going to the grocery store, like I would have to like lean on the shopping cart because that would be too much walking.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is I just thought that that was going to be my life.
Yeah.
And so that is how I lived my life for several years. And so already, I'd been going through the immense pain, obviously wasn't active during that point. Then I got the relief to where I could live a somewhat normal life, but I still couldn't be active because any level of activity brought pain.
Aggravated it.
And
Yeah.
so you can imagine the amount of weight that I start to put on because I can't be active at all. And I just thought that this was going to be my life. Well, after a few years, the constant pain came back. And I mean, I hadn't done anything to trigger it, but it just came back. So I go back to the doctor, and once again, we go through the cycles of the big needle, big needle, big needle. And I finally, asked him because he would keep saying like, okay, well, this is going to be the last time we do the big needle. And so I finally asked him, I'm like, okay, well, you said that this was that the last one was going to be the last one, and then we did another one. But what if we're planning another one? What if this one doesn't work? And he was like, we'll probably do another one. And so even after he was like, but this was for sure the last one. And so at that point I realized, and I had grown and matured a little bit. And so I realized that I should get a second opinion. Um, Whereas, yeah, before I don't think that I was confident enough to do that. Once again, thinking back to Mary Lou Retton, who, as a small child, was told that she should pick a different sport, and she was confident enough to say, no, this is the one
Yeah.
for me. And I don't care what you say. Um, Fast forward to me as an adult being told, "Oh yeah, we're just going to keep doing this big needle," and me saying, "Well, the doctor knows best," right? So
Yeah, I
fortunately,
mean, you assume they do, but that's not always the case.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
fortunately, I got to the point where I was like, "Okay, I should get a second opinion," and so
Yeah.
I went to Houston. Austin, the medical scene has improved since then. It's but Houston is world renowned,
Yeah.
and and was then and still is today. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to Houston, and I'm so glad I did. I went to a place that was, I mean, it was so fancy. Like they did an MRI while I was there and got the results while I was
Wow.
there. Yeah. And so I went and I had my MRI from a few months before that the doctor in Austin had done. And the Houston doctor was like, "Okay, yeah, no, I can see, yeah, I don't know that you're ready for surgery yet." But then we did an MRI there, and it turns out I had gotten a lot worse. And so he was like, "Oh, yeah, no, you need a surgery." And so we got me scheduled for surgery, and I so that's my one. I guess I've had two surgeries that might be considered major. So spine surgery turns out is that one's classified as a major.
I
So
would
they
think
went in
so,
and
yeah.
they trimmed away those two discs so that they wouldn't touch the nerves, and then they actually also cut portions of two of my vertebrae away, because at once they got in there, they were like, "Oh, you also have spinal stenosis, which is a narrowing of the spinal column," and so that way,
I have
the
that. Yeah.
spinal, yeah. So now my spinal cord has a little bit more wiggle room, which is nice. And let me tell you, this is where, I mean, granted, I had this surgery probably 30 years after Mary Lou Retton had hers. So science has improved quite a bit. But when I woke up from that surgery, the pain was gone. I had a new
Oh,
pain.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a new pain because, I mean, they had to cut into me. So I have about a
Well, yeah.
4-inch scar.
You're gonna have pain. Yeah.
Yeah. So I could tell that they cut into me. Like I had incision site pain, but the pain that I had been dealing with was gone.
Oh, wow.
And it was amazing. So when I think about that, I mean, and I was up walking, like, I mean, probably within an hour of waking up from the
Oh, wow.
surgery. Yeah. And I mean, I felt like I was just walking on clouds. Like my parents were there and they were like, "I don't think you should be walking this much or walking this fast." And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about because I feel fantastic."
Now, I
Because
do have to ask, was it because you were like healed, or was it the helpful medication they give you after the surgery? Or a
no,
little
no,
bit of
no, no,
both?
because like I said,
You were good.
the incision site hurt. and it did
That's
not
it.
feel good at all. And to where I even asked, well, I told my parents were like, "How do you feel?" And I was like, "Well," I was like, "It's a different pain." I said, "I can tell that they cut into me," and they were like, "Nurse, nurse, she says she's in pain," and I'm like, "No, no, it's
But your
But
normal
then
pain
this
was gone.
gone, yeah,
Gone.
it was amazing,
Yeah, that's cool.
and yeah, and so the wonderful thing is that now I don't really have. I mean, I'm getting old, so I have aches and pains
Well,
that don't
yeah.
have to do with this back issue, but
Injury. Yeah.
I don't have that back pain. And but the problem is that I dealt with that. I think in total it covered 8 years.
Wow.
And so that is 8 years of not being active at all because of
You
the
couldn't.
pain level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I packed on the pounds and I got really out of shape. And the other thing, so that's part of why I am where I am today. But another thing that I have figured out, and this obviously, like I said, this was a big surgery, so I
Yeah.
was going to follow doctor's orders, and so he had a plan, and I had to walk a certain amount every day, and I also had to ride an exercise bike, and I hate exercise bikes. But I got an exercise bike and I did the that every single day like I was supposed to, so I followed the plan, but the plan did not include anything designed to strengthen my lower back
Oh.
muscles. And it's not something that I talked with the doctor about very much. I mean, it was just like, here's the game plan, but I think again, the doctor probably wasn't thinking about how for 8 years my body had already been
Yeah.
picking up the slack, and so it's like I have abs for days. You can't see them, you know. They they are very well insulated, but I've got some strong ab muscles. But that's because they have been kind of
They
having to
compensated.
overcompensate, yeah,
Yeah.
for my back. So my lower back muscles are like non-existent.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I'm trying to focus on as well, like when I'm thinking about how am I going to exercise to get fit and what am I going to do, I also have to keep that in mind. But these are the reasons that I'm kind of starting where I am. These are the reasons that I actually do really need to lose these 50 pounds before before I go to the Olympic Games. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm dealing with. And I feel like it's an uphill battle, but I also feel like I'm here for it. If Mary Lou Retton could basically rehab her knee and end up revolutionizing a sport and winning a gold medal and becoming America's sweetheart on that knee, then I can put together a plan to strengthen my back muscles, to get a little
To
more fit,
become
and to lose some weight.
America's next sweetheart.
That's me.
Alicia
America's.
Eaton. America's next sweetheart.
I like that. I feel like I might always be the next one. So the current one might change over time, and I'm going to
You
still
never
be
know.
the
Yeah.
next one.
We're always working to build ourselves up and to improve, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. So, I did a weigh-in this morning, so that I would be able to give an update. And I am very happy to say now, this is only our second episode, but I have been working at this for a few months, like since I got the tickets.
right.
Um, so I'm very happy to say that I feel like I have made a good dent in my 50-pound goal. So as of this morning, I am down um 7 pounds.
yeah. That
Yeah.
is
So
nothing to scoff at. 7 is a chunk. A 7 of 50 is what? Almost percentage wise, I'm not going to math well right now, but like 18% or something? That's wild.
yeah, so
I
I'm
don't know if
feeling
that
really good
math's right.
about
In
it.
my head, it sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fan freaking tastic.
That's real
Now,
good.
I will say that I think that today was a good weigh-in day. And because I've been weighing in. I don't weigh in every day because that kind of plays with your mind a little bit. But I have had a couple of weigh-ins where I've gone down and then I go back up and then I go back down. And so but I have had two in a row now where I was down. And so I feel good, but I also know
Yeah.
that, next week when we chat again, I might not still be at the 7 because
You
that's
might
just
not.
how it
Yeah.
goes. But it's still a
Well, it
good
ebbs
start.
and flows. Yeah. So many things can. I mean, it's been so humid where I'm at right now, and I like just holding on your body, holding onto that water, inflammation, where you're at in your hormonal cycle, whether you're premenopausal, perimenopausal, postmenopausal, like all of those things, especially in women, really, and like what you had for dinner last night, if you had a little too much salt. So there's definitely ebbs and flows, but it's like the consistency over time.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm focusing on. And so I do want to celebrate the fact that I have
Yeah.
lost and I feel like it's a good start. So I'm not trying to take away from that. I am trying to say it's not going to be the end of the world if we talk next week and
No, yeah.
I have a different amount to report. I'm going to be okay
Because
with that.
statistically, it will be different. That's
Yeah.
just, you can't always go down. And in my experience, I've lost weight many times. In my experience, it's kind of like a doot, 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 doot. Like,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes it's a little all over the place, but as long as you like stay on it and still try, like that's what really matters,
Yeah,
according to
exactly.
Mary Lou Retton.
Well, and so Mary Lou Retton actually has been in the weight loss game previously. So
Has she?
here back in the day, and this wasn't really that long ago. This might have been, well, probably, I don't know, more than 10 years, but less than
Oh,
20.
okay. All right.
Um she came out with Mary Lou's Way, and Way was spelled, Weigh. And she had a whole online like forum for you to talk to other people trying to lose weight and everything. But then the really cool thing is that she was selling this, like, it was Mary Lou's Way platform. Okay. And they called it a platform, not a scale, because
Oh.
you would stand on it to weigh yourself, but it wouldn't tell you how much you weighed.
Oh.
It would just like save it in the, computer memory, right? And then the next week when you would go to weigh in, it would tell you if you gained or if you lost, and it would tell you how much you gained or lost, but it wouldn't tell you how much you weighed. And which was a really interesting thing, and I
It is an
really
interesting
appreciate.
idea.
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
whole thing is, sometimes you see the number and the number isn't what you want and you lose sight of the
Yeah.
fact, just like I was talking about, like, hey, I've lost 7 pounds, and then I immediately followed up with, but I mean, it might come, blah blah blah. and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and so this was really taking the focus off that number and putting it on your progress, which was really cool. But then here was the kicker. So you would weigh yourself, and then, you didn't see any numbers or anything. So it was a voice telling you how you did. And it was Mary Lou Retton's voice.
All right. That's cool. Did you
Right?
have one? Did you have a
Yes, of
platform?
course. Yes.
Do you still have the platform?
No. Uh so what happened to I I ended up it didn't make the move with me.
Oh.
But also before that, I had been using it pretty regularly. Now, she only did enough recordings for 10 pounds and then it would reset and you would get the same ones again, which
Yeah.
I mean, it was Mary Lou Retton celebrating me
Yeah.
and my weight loss. And so I didn't really care. It was amazing. So I had been losing weight and then of course I stopped and then I gained weight. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to start losing weight again. And so I pulled the old platform out and I got on it. And it was like, you're not the right person. Like, get out. It was like, you're very clearly not you're two of that person that used to weigh.
Well, that's
Um,
insulting the platform.
and I couldn't figure out how to reset it. And so it was like, all right, well, I guess that's the end of my Mary Lou's Way journey. But it was a lot of fun. And then she actually came out with different voices that you could buy. Now, obviously, I would have stuck with Mary Lou the whole
But
time.
yeah,
I can't
I,
imagine anyone who wouldn't want Mary Lou Retton celebrating your weight loss. But
yeah.
like she did get Mr. T. And I don't know. I could only imagine there had to have been like I pity the fool who didn't lose
I
weight this week.
yeah. I mean, I honestly, I Mary Lou sounds great, but I think I'd choose Mr. T.
And I would judge you for that, but I also would want to hear what Mr. T has to say.
Yeah,
I
because
wouldn't
I
judge
mean,
you that
yeah,
hard. I would just be like, "What? It's Mary Lou Retton." But Mr.
yeah.
T is awesome.
It's
So,
Mr.
I
T.
get it.
Yeah,
But anyway, yeah, so that was Mary Lou's Way and that was back really, I mean, like now obviously there's an online community for just about anything, but
yeah.
that was pretty cutting edge. Like the even the platform, the technology that went into the platform and then the
Oh
online
yeah.
forum, like it was pretty cutting edge. So, you go, Mary Lou.
Get
Like,
it, Mary Lou. All
yeah,
all very well rounded, Mary Lou.
right? She's
Yeah,
just so great. She has had some
yeah.
trouble recently, both with her health and then also with the law. We don't need to get into that because
Oh,
she's
okay.
perfect. She perfect 10, and that's all we need to say.
10, perfect 10. Mary Lou twice, right? She got two tens.
Well, she did the vault twice, and both times she got the perfect 10. She didn't need to get
Well,
the
yeah,
perfect 10 twice, but she did. She has had
but she
other
did.
perfect 10s as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything post the 10 that is unfavorable, we'll just disregard.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to give any updates on anything that you've been doing?
Yeah. So I also on a weight loss journey have lost weight, and I've kind of done the thing, like I said, lose a little, stay the same, lose a little, maybe gain a little. Um, And while I'll say recently I did weigh myself and I have had no movement, I know I've lost weight because I put my phone in my shorts and they fell down. So they're big
Hey.
enough now to not quite stay up, which I do need to be aware of when I go out in public. Um, but I was like, hey, you don't fit. And I like it this time. So, sometimes your
Yeah.
body moves before the numbers on the scale, which is why it's important to have the other, factors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, you said that it hasn't like the numbers haven't moved. That is also a good thing. I mean, obviously we
Yeah.
want the
Yeah,
numbers
because
to
they
move
haven't gone up. Yeah.
down, but yeah, they haven't gone up. I
Yeah.
mean, that's we've talked about it, the importance of actually being able to maintain.
Yeah.
So, the
A
fact that you're
consistency.
maintaining
Yeah.
and your pants are falling off,
Yeah.
which is fun for you and the whole family, I'm sure.
It- you know,
I mean,
go out to take out
so
the trash and surprise. So,
I think that's amazing. So I think we're both doing really well.
I'm feeling pretty good about it. Yeah.
And I think, it's probably not because of Mary Lou, but part of it is definitely because of Mary Lou.
Definitely Mary Lou has helped a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. That's amazing. Anyone who's listening, I hope that you love Mary Lou. If you have not seen the video of her vault from the 1984 Olympics, you need to go watch it. I cannot stress this enough. Mary Lou Retton revolutionized the sport of gymnastics, changed the landscape of American gymnastics, and is just all around awesome. Um, she knew what she wanted to do, and she went out and did it. And that's what we're going to do too. You and I are on this journey. We're going to make it happen. All of you who are joining us are also going to help us to move faster, reach higher, be stronger together. And with that, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.